Welcome back to the details video about the MEMSIC MMC5983MA high-performance 3-axis magnetic sensor. In the previous video, we started writing our own library for that thing, and we were already able to initiate a magnetic measurement and to read out the magnetic data for the 3-axis. Card here, link in the description. I'm a little bit pressed for time, as so often lately, so let's just continue where we left off last time. Enjoy! As I mentioned, we already initiated a magnetic measurement and we read out the 7 registers containing the magnetic field data. So let's now initiate a temperature measurement and read out the lone single byte here that is the temperature output register. Like for the magnetic measurements, there is a bit here in the control 0 register, bit 1, which you write a 1 to initiate a temperature measurement. So there's really nothing new. Let's just go over the code real quick. Okay, this time let's go bottom up through the code for a change. So I added here in my header file of the library a new constant expression for that take temperature measurement bit, control 0 TMT bit. Then I added a public bool function, a take temperature measurement, which works exactly like the take magnetic measurement. Yeah, it causes our chip to take a single temperature measurement by writing that bit to the control 0 register, and true is returned if successful, otherwise false. Then we have a bool read temperature output, which reads the temperature output register from our chip. And finally, I have here 2 functions, raw temperature output, which just returns us the byte we just read from the register of the chip, and a float temperature in degrees Celsius. In the CPP file, I have the implementation for that take measurement. It's temperature measurement. It's exactly the same like take magnetic measurement. We write to our control register 0 that single bit which will cause the chip to read or take a temperature measurement. And also exactly analog the read axis output, I have now here the implementation for the read temperature output, which reads the temperature output register into our internal shadow register array. And yeah, exactly 1 byte, starting with that address here. The implementation of the raw temperature output is really primitive. It just returns the byte in our shadow register array at the address temperature output register. And then the temperature in Celsius, that's a wee bit more complicated. Let's have another look into the data sheet. And there it says, again, we saw that already in the first video, temperature output, unsigned format, everything's fine. So for between 0 and 255 decimal, the range is -75 till 125 degrees Celsius. And that's the operative word here, about 0.8 degrees Celsius per LSB. 000 stands for -75 degrees Celsius. So we take our value here between 0 and 255, and we do not multiply it with 0.8 because the about here. So the range, as we know, is between -75 degrees, that would be a value 0 in the register, to 125 degrees Celsius. That would be a value of 255, or at least I think it's 125 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's all according to the data sheet. So offset is clear, it's minus 75. So if we have a value of 0, we have to subtract a 75. But 1 LSB is 200, yeah, the full range, so 125 degrees Celsius minus 75 degrees Celsius. Let me here add degrees Celsius. So that's actually 200, okay? And we have to divide that by our complete range of our bytes, so a max of 255, and that gives us a value of 0.784313 and so on. It's really long. I don't even know if that's a rational number or irrational number. And that's called by the data sheet about 0.8 degrees Celsius, okay? So to convert our single byte value between 0 and 255, we multiply it by 200. Yeah, our complete range is 200 degrees Celsius. Divide that by the 255 maximum value in our byte, and then we subtract our offset. In the sketch itself, I only changed the loop. So now we do first a read temperature output. Then we do a serial print of the raw temperature output and the temperature in Celsius, just with 1 decimal after the decimal point. And then we have a delay 100 here. And then we command the chip to take the next temperature measurement. And then we have another delay. And if these Boolean return functions return false, so we have an error, I print out at least the error number for now. Only I2C errors are possible right now. And that's how the whole thing looks on the serial monitor. So we are reading a raw value of 124 and 22.3 degrees Celsius. And if I put my finger here on the chip, yeah, temperature is rising. Can I get a little bit higher? 25.4? Okay, anyway, temperature is going down again. Please note I'm getting here errors. Okay, if I take the magnetic measurement, I get errors. I also had these errors in the last video. I just didn't print them out because it looks really weird on the serial plotter. But something is still not perfect, and I'm not sure if it's my wiring here, how I set up the whole thing. I don't think so, or maybe we need to fine-tune our I2C private functions, private methods a little bit more. I'll come back to you when I solve that problem. Let's do the status register at hexadecimal 08 next. So we have here 5 reserved bits, we don't care about those. And then we have here bit number 4, which is called OTP RD done, or OTP data read successful. OTP standing for one-time programming. So that thing contains a PROM, which is programmed once when the chip is produced, and the bit values in that PROM are used to initialize the registers when the chip is powered up, or you do a software reset, or you do, yeah, it's possible, an explicit OTP read. So anyway, that bit should always be 1. Otherwise, something is very wrong. Then we have the bits 1 and 0, mesh T done, respectively mesh M done, which indicate either if the temperature measurement is done or the magnetic field measurement is done. They also can reset the measurement done interrupt if you write a 1 to them, but we come to that later. Let's write some more code for now. Let's stay with the bottom-up approach for now. We have a new method here, read status, which is the same like read temperature output, just for another register. We won't even have a look at the implementation of that one. Then we have 3 new Boolean methods here: OTP, data read successful, temperature measurement done, and magnetic measurement done, which return, of course, true if the corresponding bit in the status register is set. And of course, I created constants for those 3 bits here. And within the CPP file, the implementation is really trivial. Our 3 Boolean functions here just compare the corresponding bits here with a binary AND with the content of our status register, which we of course first need to read with read status. Here's the sketch. So in the setup, I added here a line that actually does a read status, and I also added a new convenience function here, serial print error, which gets a reference to our object and then a little error text. That serial print function here does nothing more than printing out on the serial port error and then the message we pass here, and then it retrieves the last error from the object reference we passed. In the loop, we basically do everything we have already implemented in our library. We start with a delay 100. Then I do a temperature measurement, and that's probably blocked by the window. If that fails, I do error handling. Then I wait for 10 milliseconds. And then I do a read status with error handling if necessary. And then I print out if the temperature measurement has already been done. No new line here. Instead, in the next step, I read the temperature output, with the new error handling, of course, and I print that out. We already saw that. And then I take a magnetic measurement with error handling and stuff, wait 10 milliseconds, and then I read the status again, and this time I check if the magnetic measurement has been done. And I read my axis output. We did that in the previous video, and I print that out. And that's how the whole thing looks on the serial monitor. So we have here our OTP data read, which is 1, which is good. If that would be 0, something would be seriously wrong. Then we have our temperature measurement done. Yes, it is, with the values. And our magnetic measurement done. Yes, it is, the values, and so on and so on. And here we have one of these infamous I2C errors. We will have a look at these, I promise you, later. Maybe we can get rid of them. Maybe it's just something the chip does. That's it for today. I told you in the beginning I'm a little bit pressed for time. And yeah, when we go to come to the internal control 0 register, things get a little bit more complicated, and we also need to understand a little bit more about the inner workings of the chip. So yeah, I will defer that to the next video. So till next time, bye.